Hello there, and welcome. Tonight, we're drifting into a world that's both invisible and everywhere around us, a realm that exists in the quiet spaces between what we can see and what we can only imagine. We're exploring viruses, but not in the way you might expect. Instead of fear or worry, we'll discover the gentle mysteries and surprisingly peaceful truths about these tiny travelers that share our world. Think of viruses as nature's whispered secrets, so small they make bacteria look like giants, yet so influential they've shaped every story of life on Earth. Tonight, we'll wander through their hidden universe with curiosity rather than concern, finding beauty in their simplicity and wonder in their ancient dance with all living things. Some of what we'll uncover will feel like poetry written in molecules. Others will remind us that even the smallest things in nature follow patterns as elegant as falling snow. If you enjoy these gentle journeys into science and would like to join us for more peaceful explorations, feel free to like and subscribe below. You can also share your thoughts in the comments, as it helps others find their way to these quiet moments of discovery. But for now, all you need to do is settle in comfortably. Let your breathing slow, your shoulders relax, and allow yourself to drift along with these soft revelations about the microscopic world that surrounds us always. Let's begin our gentle journey into the peaceful side of virology. Viruses are nature's most minimalist creations. If life were a library, viruses would be the shortest poems, containing only the most essential words needed to tell their story. They carry just enough genetic information to continue their existence, nothing more, nothing less. This beautiful simplicity means that most viruses contain fewer than 10 genes, while even the simplest bacteria might have thousands. Picture a virus as a tiny capsule of possibility, wrapped in proteins that fit together like pieces of an ancient puzzle. These protein shells, called capsids, form geometric patterns so perfect they could have been designed by master architects. Some are shaped like perfect spheres, others like intricate geodomes, and still others resemble delicate crystalline structures that would look at home in a jewelry box. The most peaceful truth about viruses is that they spend most of their existence in a state of complete stillness. Outside of a host cell, they are essentially dormant, like seeds waiting for the right conditions to bloom. They cannot move on their own, cannot eat, cannot breathe, cannot even reproduce without help. In this state, they are simply molecules arranged in beautiful patterns, as quiet and patient as snow for spring. Many flakes, waiting viruses have been traveling with humans for thousands of years, becoming part of our shared story without us ever knowing they were there. They live quietly in our bodies, causing no harm, simply existing alongside us like invisible companions. These peaceful residents have learned to coexist so perfectly with their hosts that they've become part of the natural background of life itself. The word virus comes from Latin, meaning poison or slimy liquid. But this ancient name doesn't capture their true nature. A more fitting description might be molecular messengers or genetic whispers. They are nature's way of sharing information between living things, carrying tiny packets of biological data from one organism to another across the vast networks of life. Viruses are incredibly patient entities. Some can remain viable outside a host for days, weeks, or even years, simply waiting. There's something almost meditative about their ability to exist in suspended animation, neither fully alive nor completely inert, but somewhere in between, like thoughts waiting to be remembered. The structure of a virus is elegant in its economy. Imagine the most efficient possible design for carrying information, and you'll begin to understand how viruses are built. Every component serves a purpose, with no wasted space or unnecessary complexity. They are masterpieces of biological minimalism, proving that sometimes the smallest things can have the greatest impact. Most viruses are so small that millions could fit on the head of a pin. To put this in perspective, if a virus were the size of a marble, a human cell would be the size of a basketball court. This incredible smallness means they exist in a world governed by different physical laws than our own, where molecular forces matter more than gravity, and where the simple act of floating through liquid is like drifting through a gentle, invisible current. Viruses have no consciousness, no awareness, no intentions or desires. They simply exist and respond to the chemical signals around them like leaves responding to wind. There's something deeply peaceful about this pure existence without thought or worry, without plans or fears, just being present in each moment as the universe unfolds around them. The genetic material inside viruses is often remarkably stable, able to preserve information for incredibly long periods. Scientists have found viral DNA in ancient ice cores, perfectly preserved like messages in frozen bottles, carrying stories from thousands of years ago. These molecular time capsules remind us that even the tiniest things can connect us to the deep history of our planet. Many viruses have co-evolved with their hosts over millions of years, developing relationships so refined that they benefit both partners. These partnerships are examples of nature's wisdom, showing how even the smallest entities can find ways to live in harmony with larger organisms. It's a reminder that cooperation, not conflict, is often nature's preferred solution. The life cycle of a virus follows a rhythm as natural as the phases of the moon. There are periods of dormancy and periods of activity, times of waiting and times of action. This cyclical existence mirrors many patterns we see throughout nature, from the seasons changing to the tides flowing in and out, suggesting that viruses are simply following the same ancient rhythms that govern all natural processes. Some viruses have been found in the deepest parts of the ocean, thriving in conditions that would be impossible for most life forms. They exist in eternal darkness, under crushing pressure, in waters so cold they barely move. Yet they continue their quiet existence undisturbed. These deep-sea viruses remind us that life finds a way to exist even in the most peaceful and remote corners of our planet. Viruses play important roles as recyclers in nature's economy. In the oceans, they help break down organic matter, releasing nutrients that feed the tiniest plants, which in turn feed larger organisms, creating chains of nourishment that eventually reach the surface waters where whales feed. In this way, viruses contribute to the great cycles that keep our planet's ecosystems flowing smoothly. The discovery of giant viruses has revealed that the viral world is far more diverse than we once imagined. Some viruses are large enough to be seen under ordinary microscopes, bridging the gap between the invisible and visible worlds. These gentle giants contain hundreds of genes and challenge our understanding of what viruses can be, reminding us that nature always has more surprises waiting to be discovered. Viruses exist in perfect balance with their environment, never taking more than they need and never disturbing the delicate equilibrium of their surroundings, unless that balance already has been disrupted. They are nature's way of maintaining harmony, ensuring that no single species becomes too dominant and that diversity continues to flourish across all ecosystems. The protein shells that protect viral genetic material are self-assembling, meaning they naturally form their perfect geometric shapes without any external guidance. This spontaneous organization is like watching origami fold itself, demonstrating that beauty and order can emerge naturally from the simplest components when the conditions are right. Many viruses have inspired breakthroughs in medicine and technology, serving as tiny teachers that show us how nature solves complex problems with elegant simplicity. They've helped scientists develop new treatments, create better materials, and understand fundamental processes of life. In their quiet way, viruses have been some of our most patient and generous instructors. The study of viruses has revealed that they are far more ancient than previously thought, possibly existing since the very dawn of life on Earth. They may have been among the first entities to carry genetic information, serving as bridges between non-living chemistry and living biology. This makes them not just part of life's story, but potentially some of its earliest authors. In hot springs and other extreme environments, viruses have been found living alongside bacteria in communities so stable they've remained unchanged for thousands. The most challenging demonstrate that even in of years, these peaceful settlements conditions, different forms of life can find ways to coexist harmoniously, creating little ecosystems of cooperation in unlikely places. The movement of viruses through the environment follows patterns as gentle as air currents and water flows. They drift on breezes, travel in droplets of mist, and float in streams and rivers like microscopic seeds dispersing across the landscape. This natural distribution system ensures that viral diversity spreads slowly and steadily throughout the world's ecosystems. Some viruses have been found to remain stable at extremely low temperatures, essentially frozen in time until conditions change. This remarkable preservation ability means that viruses locked in Arctic ice or high mountain glaciers could potentially remain viable for thousands of years, waiting patiently for the world to warm enough for them to continue their quiet existence. The relationship between viruses and their hosts often develops over such long periods that it becomes a form of molecular friendship, with each partner adapting to the other's needs and rhythms. These ancient partnerships remind us that cooperation and mutual benefit often develop naturally when entities share the same environment over extended periods. Viruses have no need for the complex machinery that fills most living cells. They carry no digestive systems, no respiratory apparatus, no circulation networks. Instead, they exist in a state of perfect simplicity, like haikus written in the language of DNA and RNA. This streamlined existence allows them to focus entirely on their core purpose, moving through the world with the grace of entities unburdened by unnecessary complexity. The surfaces of many viruses are covered in proteins that act like tiny keys, each one shaped to fit perfectly into specific locks on their host cells. These molecular recognition systems are so precise that they work like gentle handshakes, ensuring that viruses only enter cells where they truly belong. There's something almost courteous about this specificity, as if nature has taught them to knock before entering. In the deep ocean trenches, where sunlight has never touched the sea floor, viruses continue their quiet work in communities of organisms that exist entirely without photosynthesis. These deep-dwelling viruses help maintain the delicate balance of life in Earth's most remote corners, ensuring that nutrients continue to cycle through ecosystems that operate in eternal darkness, as peaceful and undisturbed as underwater gardens. The genetic diversity of viruses is staggering in its scope. Scientists estimate that viral genetic sequences represent more variety than all other life forms this combined, yet incredible diversity exists mostly unseen and unfelt. It's as if nature has written an enormous library of possibilities in a language so small we're only just beginning to read its first few pages. Many viruses display remarkable fidelity when copying their genetic information, ensuring that their essential messages remain clear and accurate across countless generations. This careful preservation of information is like an ancient tradition of storytelling, where each retelling maintains the integrity of the original tale while allowing for the smallest, most gentle variations. The life cycle of some viruses includes long periods of dormancy within their hosts, during which they remain completely inactive, neither harming nor helping, simply existing in a state of molecular meditation. These sleeping viruses can remain dormant for years or even decades, waiting patiently for the right signal to gently resume their activities, demonstrating a patience that surpasses human understanding. Viruses have been found in every environment on Earth where life exists, from scorching hot springs to frozen Antarctic lakes, from the highest mountain peaks to the deepest ocean valleys. Yet despite their ubiquity, they maintain their existence so quietly that most of the time we're completely unaware of their presence, like whispered conversations happening just beyond the edge of hearing. The protein coats of viruses often display symmetrical patterns that rival the most beautiful geometric art. These molecular sculptures form icosahedral shapes, helical spirals, and complex architectural forms that would inspire any designer. Each virus carries its genetic material wrapped in these protein masterpieces, turning the simple act of protection into an expression of natural artistry. Some viruses have evolved to be so gentle with their hosts that they've become beneficial partners, helping their host organisms survive in challenging environments. These helpful viruses provide services like protecting against more harmful microorganisms or assisting with essential metabolic processes, demonstrating that even the relationship between virus and host can evolve into forms of molecular friendship. The way viruses spread through populations follows mathematical patterns as predictable as the movement of tides or the changing of seasons. These natural rhythms of transmission and dormancy create waves of activity that ebb and flow across communities, in cycles that can be as regular as clockwork, yet as gentle as breathing. In laboratory studies, scientists have observed viruses exhibiting behaviors that seem almost thoughtful in their precision. They appear to sense their environment, respond to chemical signals, and make what look like decisions about when and how to proceed with their life cycles. While these responses are purely chemical reactions, watching them unfold feels like observing a form of microscopic wisdom in action. The discovery of viruses that infect other viruses has revealed entire ecosystems of interaction happening at scales almost too small to imagine. These virus-eating viruses, called virophages, create layers of relationship and interdependence that mirror the complex food webs we see in larger ecosystems, suggesting that the principles governing life operate consistently across all scales of existence. Many viruses possess remarkable abilities to repair damage to their genetic material, using sophisticated molecular machinery to maintain the integrity of their information across countless reproductions. This self-healing capability ensures that their essential messages remain clear and functional, like careful librarians preserving ancient texts for future generations. The seasonal patterns of many viruses mirror the natural rhythms of their environments, with periods of activity that correspond to changes in temperature, humidity, and the life cycles of their hosts. These viral seasons create predictable ebbs and flows in viral populations that align with the broader rhythms of nature, from spring blooms to winter dormancy. Viruses have been instrumental in driving evolution by facilitating the transfer of genetic material between different species. Through this gentle mixing of genetic information, they've helped create the incredible diversity of life we see today. In this role, they function as nature's genetic librarians, carefully moving beneficial information from one organism to another across the boundaries of species. The study of ancient viruses preserved in ice cores and fossil records has revealed that viral communities have remained remarkably stable over geological time periods. These prehistoric viral ecosystems continued their quiet work for millions of years, maintaining consistent patterns of diversity and interaction that suggest a profound underlying stability in the viral world. Some viruses demonstrate an almost artistic approach to their reproduction, creating beautiful crystalline arrangements when they assemble new viral particles within their host cells. These molecular factories produce viruses with the precision and elegance of master craftsmen, each new particle emerging as a perfect replica of its parent, complete with identical geometric patterns and structural details. The proteins that make up viral surfaces often change slowly over time, but these changes follow patterns that can be predicted and understood. This gradual evolution creates family trees of viral lineages that stretch back thousands of years, each branch representing a gentle adaptation to changing environmental conditions while maintaining the essential character of the original virus. Many viruses possess the ability to enter a state of suspended animation when conditions become challenging, essentially putting their life processes on hold until more favorable circumstances return. During these periods of quiescence, they exist in a state of perfect patience, neither growing nor declining, simply waiting with the stillness of seeds buried in winter soil. The movement of viruses through the atmosphere follows air currents and weather patterns, creating a global circulation system that connects ecosystems across continents. This aerial highway allows viruses to travel vast distances while remaining completely passive, carried along by winds and weather systems like microscopic passengers on invisible ships. In marine environments, viruses help maintain the balance between different types of plankton, ensuring that no single species dominates the ocean's microscopic ecosystems. This regulatory role helps preserve the incredible diversity of marine life, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest whales, by maintaining the stable foundation upon which all ocean food chains depend. The genetic material of viruses is often organized in ways that maximize stability and minimize the chance of harmful mutations. These molecular arrangements represent millions of years of evolutionary refinement, resulting in genetic structures that are both robust and flexible, capable of preserving essential information while allowing for gradual adaptation to changing conditions. Some viruses have developed the remarkable ability to coordinate their activities across populations, communicating through chemical signals that travel between infected cells like whispered messages in a vast network. This molecular communication system allows viral communities to make collective decisions about when to remain dormant and when to become active, ensuring their survival through a form of microscopic democracy that operates below the threshold of human perception. The surfaces of many viruses are decorated with proteins that change shape in response to their environment, like flowers that open and close with the light. These conformational changes allow viruses to adapt to different conditions while maintaining their essential structure, demonstrating a flexibility that rivals the most sophisticated engineering designs humans have ever created. In the soil beneath our feet, viruses work quietly as part of vast underground networks that connect plant roots, fungi, and bacteria in relationships so complex they resemble the neural networks of brains. These subterranean viral communities help facilitate the exchange of nutrients and information between different organisms, creating a hidden internet of life that spans entire forests and grasslands. The replication process of many viruses follows rhythms that sync with the natural cycles of their host cells, timing their activities to coincide with periods when resources are most abundant. This molecular choreography ensures minimal disruption to the host while maximizing the efficiency of viral reproduction. Like dancers who move in perfect harmony with music only they can hear. Viruses found in extreme environments often display colors that would be stunning if we could see them, ranging from deep purples to brilliant golds, created by the unique arrangement of their protein structures. These microscopic rainbows exist in places like volcanic hot springs and salt lakes, adding invisible beauty to landscapes that already capture our imagination with their visible spellviruses Follendor. The way their genetic material resembles the ancient art of origami, with long strands of DNA ored into compact RNA folding, elegant shapes that fit perfectly within their protein shells. This molecular origami follows rules of geometry and physics that ensure stability while allowing for the precise unfolding need the time comes for replication. Many viruses exhibit what scientists call tropism, a natural preference for specific types of cells or tissues within their hosts. This selectivity is so refined that some viruses will only interact with cells that display exactly the right combination of molecular signals, like keys that fit only one specific lock among millions of possibilities. The evolutionary history of viruses stretches back so far that they may have been present at the very origin of cellular life, serving as bridges between the world of simple molecules and the complex organisms we see today. These ancient entities carry within their genes the echoes of Earth's earliest biological experiments, making them living museums of primordial life. In Arctic environments, viruses have been found living within ice crystals themselves, existing in a state of crystalline suspension that preserves them with perfect fidelity for thousands of years. These frozen time capsules contain viral communities from ages past, waiting patiently in their icy tombs for conditions that might allow them to resume their quiet existence. The assembly of new viral particles within host cells follows patterns that mirror crystal formation, with components coming together in precise arrangements that create structures of mathematical beauty. Watching this process unfold through time-lapse microscopy reveals a form of molecular ballet, where each component knows exactly where and when to take its place in the growing structure. Some viruses have evolved to be so energy efficient that they can accomplish their entire life cycle using less energy than it takes for a single human cell to divide. This remarkable efficiency is achieved through streamlined processes that eliminate every unnecessary step, creating biological machines that operate with the precision and economy of Swiss watches. The outer shells of many viruses display interference patterns that create iridescent effects, similar to those seen on soap bubbles or butterfly wings. These optical properties result from the regular spacing of protein subunits in the viral surface, creating microscopic prisms that would split light into rainbows if they were large enough for us to observe directly. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to sense and respond to seasonal changes in their environment, adjusting their activity levels in response to subtle shifts in temperature, daylight, and the physiological rhythms of their hosts. This seasonal awareness allows them to time their life cycles for optimal survival, like migratory birds that instinctively know when to begin their journeys. The genetic repair mechanisms employed by many viruses are so sophisticated that they can correct errors in their DNA or RNA with accuracy rates that exceed those of many cellular organisms. These molecular proofreading systems ensure that essential information remains intact across countless generations, preserving the integrity of viral lineages that may span geological time periods. In deep cave systems where no sunlight ever penetrates, specialized viruses have been discovered living in communities that exist entirely on chemical energy derived from rocks and minerals. These subterranean viral ecosystems operate in complete darkness and silence, creating stable communities that may have remained unchanged for millions of years. The movement of viruses through water follows fluid dynamics principles that create gentle, spiraling patterns like microscopic galaxies slowly rotating through liquid space. These hydrodynamic flows help distribute viral particles evenly throughout aquatic environments, ensuring that viral diversity reaches every corner of lakes, rivers, and oceans. Many viruses possess the ability to remain viable while completely desiccated, surviving in dust particles or on dry surfaces for extended periods before being reactivated by moisture. This remarkable resilience allows them to travel vast distances through the air and survive in harsh conditions that would destroy most other forms of life. The protein structures that make up viral capsids often display symmetries that correspond to mathematical principles discovered by ancient Greek geometers. These naturally occurring geometric forms demonstrate that the same mathematical relationships that govern architecture and art also operate at the molecular level, creating beauty that spans scales from the microscopic to the monumental. Some viruses have developed the ability to modify their host cells in ways that actually improve the host's survival in challenging environments. These beneficial modifications can include enhanced resistance to stress, improved metabolic efficiency, or protection against harmful chemicals, transforming what might seem like parasitic relationships into examples of molecular mutualism. The life cycle timing of many viruses is so precisely calibrated that they can predict and prepare for changes in their host's phase or even weeks in advance. This prophyology dacetic ability allows them to position themselves optimally for reproduction or dormancy, demonstrating a form of biological forecasting that rivals the most sophisticated prediction algorithms. In the microscopic world of viruses, surface tension forces create environments where traditional concepts of up and down lose their meaning. Viral particles drift through cellular fluids in three-dimensional space where movement is governed by molecular attractions and repulsions rather than gravity, creating a realm of existence that operates according to entirely different physical principles. The diversity of viral shapes includes forms that resemble everything from geometric crystals to intricate lace patterns to architectural structures that could have been designed by visionary artists. This morphological variety reflects the countless different solutions viruses have evolved for the fundamental challenges of protecting their genetic material and transmitting it to new hosts. Many viruses display circadian rhythms that align with the daily cycles of their hosts, becoming more active during certain times of day and entering periods of relative quiescence during others. These internal clocks help viruses optimize their activities for times when their hosts are most receptive, creating harmonious relationships that minimize conflict and maximize mutual benefit. The study of viral fossils preserved in ancient amber and rock formations has revealed that many modern viral families have remained essentially unchanged for millions of years. These prehistoric viruses demonstrate remarkable evolutionary stability, suggesting that they discovered optimal designs for their ecological niches eons ago, and have maintained those successful strategies ever since. Some viruses have evolved mechanisms that allow them to share resources with other viruses infecting the same host, creating cooperative networks that benefit all participants. These collaborative relationships challenge traditional notions of competition in nature, showing that even the smallest entities can find ways to work together for mutual advantage. The electromagnetic properties of viral proteins can create subtle interactions with light waves, producing effects that influence the optical properties of the environments where viruses are present. While these effects are too small to observe directly, they contribute to the complex interplay of forces that shape the behavior of light in biological systems. Viruses found in high-altitude environments have adapted to the intense ultraviolet radiation and extreme temperature fluctuations found in the upper atmosphere, developing protective mechanisms that allow them to survive conditions that would quickly destroy most earthbound organisms. These atmospheric viruses create aerial ecosystems that exist in the thin air above mountain peaks and polar regions. The molecular that some motors viruses use to package their genetic material operate with efficiencies that approach the theoretical limits of what is physically possible. These nanoscale engines can generate forces proportionally greater than those produced by the most powerful human-built machines, all while operating at the scale of individual molecules. Many viruses exhibit what researchers call behavioral flexibility, adjusting their strategies based on the specific conditions they encounter in different hosts or environments. This adaptive capacity allows them to thrive in diverse situations while maintaining their essential characteristics, demonstrating a form of molecular intelligence that emerges from purely chemical processes. The crystalline structures formed by some viruses when they assemble in large numbers create three-dimensional lattices that exhibit properties similar to those found in precious gems and advanced materials. These biological crystals can display optical effects, structural strength, and organizational patterns that inspire new approaches to materials science and nanotechnology. In the deepest parts of ocean trenches, where pressure reaches levels that would crush most known organisms, specialized viruses continue to function normally, their molecular structures perfectly adapted to these extreme conditions. These abyssal viruses demonstrate that life can find ways to flourish even in the most seemingly inhospitable environments on Earth. The temporal patterns of viral evolution follow rhythms that span multiple scales simultaneously, from rapid changes that occur within days to gradual transformations that unfold over geological ages. This multi-scale evolution creates viral lineages that maintain stability over long periods while retaining the flexibility to adapt quickly when circumstances change. Some viruses have developed the ability to enter a state of suspended animation so profound that all measurable biological activity ceases, yet they retain the capacity to resume normal function when appropriate conditions return. During these periods of cryptobiosis, viruses exist in a state that borders on the boundary between living and non-living matter. The surface patterns displayed by many viral capsids create interference effects that can influence the behavior of light and other electromagnetic radiation at microscopic scales. These optical properties contribute to the complex ways that viral particles interact with their environment, adding layers of subtlety to processes that might otherwise seem purely mechanical. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to communicate with each other across vast distances through chemical signaling networks that operate like molecular telephone systems. These microscopic messengers can coordinate their activities across entire ecosystems, sharing information about environmental conditions, resource availability, and optimal timing for various life cycle events. The signals they exchange are so subtle and specific that scientists are only beginning to understand the complexity of these viral conversations that have been taking place silently around us for millions of years. The mathematical precision with which viruses organize themselves within their protein shells follows principles that echo the golden ratio and other fundamental constants found throughout nature. These geometric relationships ensure maximum stability while using minimum materials, creating structures that are both beautiful and functional. When viewed through the lens of mathematics, viral architecture reveals itself to be a masterclass in efficient design, with every angle and proportion serving multiple purposes simultaneously. In polar regions, viruses have been discovered living within the crystal lattices of ice itself, existing in a state of geological patience that spans thousands of years. These ice-dwelling viruses have adapted to survive in conditions of extreme cold and complete immobility, essentially becoming part of the frozen landscape while retaining their capacity to resume activity should the ice ever melt. They represent some of the most patient entities on Earth, content to wait millennia for the right moment their existence to continue. The way viruses navigate through cellular environments resembles a form of molecular somnambulism, drifting through the crowded interior spaces of cells with an almost dreamlike quality. They move not through conscious direction, but by following chemical gradients and physical forces, like sleepwalkers who somehow find their way through complex environments without conscious awareness of their path. Some viruses exhibit properties that blur the traditional boundaries between living and non-living matter, existing in states that challenge our fundamental definitions of what constitutes life. They possess characteristics of both categories while fully belonging to neither, creating philosophical puzzles that have intrigued scientists and philosophers alike. In their ambiguous existence, they remind us that nature often operates in shades of gray rather than clear distinctions. The metabolic impact of most viruses on their hosts is so minimal that it can be compared to the energy cost of a whispered conversation in a crowded room. They accomplish their entire reproductive cycle while consuming resources at levels that barely register on the cellular economy of their hosts. This remarkable efficiency allows them to maintain their existence without significantly disturbing the delicate balance of their microscopic environments. Viruses found in desert environments have evolved extraordinary resistance to desiccation, capable of surviving in conditions of extreme dryness for decades while maintaining their structural integrity. These desert-adapted viruses exist in a state of suspended animation within dust particles and sand grains, waiting patiently for the rare moments when moisture returns to their arid world, at which point they can instantly resume their normal activities. The acoustic properties of viral particles, while too small to produce sound waves we can hear, create vibrations at molecular frequencies that contribute to the subtle music of cellular environments. These ultrasonic oscillations form part of the complex symphony of molecular motion that fills every living cell, adding their own quiet notes to the continuous concert of biological activity that plays out at scales far below human perception. Many viruses display what can only be described as architectural genius in the way they construct their protein shells, using principles of self-assembly that result in structures of breathtaking complexity and beauty. These molecular buildings rise spontaneously from their component parts, following blueprints encoded in their genetic material with a precision that rivals the most skilled human craftsmen, yet requiring no conscious oversight or external guidance. The electromagnetic signatures of different viral types create unique spectral fingerprints that scientists are learning to read like a form of molecular identification. Each virus family produces its own characteristic pattern of electromagnetic interactions, creating a library of signatures that exists at frequencies beyond human senses, but can be detected using sophisticated instruments that translate these invisible patterns into information we can understand. In the vast darkness of ocean depths, viruses participate in bioluminescent displays that create underwater light shows of incredible beauty. While the viruses themselves don't glow, they influence the bacteria and other organisms that do produce light, helping to orchestrate displays of natural illumination that rival the northern lights in their ethereal beauty, yet occur in complete isolation thousands of meters below the ocean's surface. The genetic stability of many viruses is so remarkable that some lineages have maintained essentially identical genetic sequences for millions of years, creating unbroken chains of hereditary information that stretch back through geological ages. These ancient genetic traditions represent some of the oldest continuous narratives on Earth, stories written in the language of DNA and RNA that have been faithfully preserved through countless generations. Viruses demonstrate an almost artistic sensibility in the way they time their activities, orchestrating complex sequences of molecular events with the precision of master conductors leading invisible orchestras. Each step in their reproductive cycle flows seamlessly into the next, creating harmonious progressions that unfold with musical timing and mathematical precision, turning basic biological processes into expressions of natural artistry. The three-dimensional arrangements of viral particles within infected cells often create fractal patterns that repeat at multiple scales, generating geometric designs of mesmerizing complexity. These natural fractals display the same mathematical relationships found in snowflakes, ferns, and coastlines, suggesting that viruses participate in the same fundamental organizing principles that shape patterns throughout the natural world. Some viruses have evolved to exist symbiotically with their hosts for so many generations that the boundaries between virus and host have become beautifully blurred. In these ancient partnerships, the virus provides essential services while the host offers shelter and resources, creating relationships so integrated that neither partner can survive without the other, like molecular marriages that have lasted for eons. The way viruses respond to magnetic fields reveals that they possess subtle sensitivities to forces that operate below the threshold of ordinary perception, While these magnetic responses are extremely weak, they suggest that viruses exist within and respond to energy fields that permeate their environment, adding layers of complexity to their interactions with the world around them. In volcanic environments, heat-loving viruses thrive in temperatures that would instantly destroy most known forms of life, existing comfortably in boiling hot springs and superheated underwater vents. These thermophilic viruses have adapted their molecular structures to remain stable and functional at temperatures that approach the boiling point of water, creating communities of life in some of Earth's most extreme thermal environments. The reproductive strategies of many viruses involve waiting periods that can span multiple host generations, demonstrating a form of temporal planning that extends far beyond their own individual existence. These patient viruses can remain dormant for years or decades, timing their emergence to coincide with optimal conditions that may not occur within their original host's lifetime, showing a kind of intergenerational wisdom. Viruses participate in global nutrient cycles by facilitating the breakdown and redistribution of organic matter on scales that span entire continents. Through their quiet work in soils, waters, and atmospheres, they help maintain the chemical balance of Earth's biosphere, ensuring that essential elements continue to flow through the interconnected systems that support all life on our planet. The molecular recognition systems that viruses use to identify their target cells operate with a specificity that surpasses the most advanced security systems humans have devised. These biological locks and keys are so precisely matched that viruses can distinguish between cells that appear identical to human observers, recognizing subtle molecular signatures that mark their preferred hosts with absolute accuracy. Some viruses have been discovered living within the cells of other microorganisms that themselves live within larger organisms, creating nested hierarchies of biological relationships that resemble Russian dolls. These multi-layered ecosystems demonstrate that life can be organized in intricate cascades of interdependence, with each level supporting and being supported by the others in arrangements of stunning complexity. The seasonal migrations of certain viruses follow patterns that mirror those of larger organisms like birds and butterflies, moving through ecosystems in response to changing environmental conditions. These viral migrations create waves of genetic diversity that flow across landscapes with the regulides, connecting arity of the distant populations and maintaining the genetic health of viral communities across vast geographical ranges. Viruses found in high radiation environments have evolved mechanisms for repairing damage to their genetic material that operate with extraordinary efficiency and speed. These molecular repair systems can fix radiation-induced errors almost as quickly as they occur, allowing these resilient viruses to thrive in conditions that would quickly prove fatal to most earthbound organisms, including areas around nuclear facilities and natural radiation sources. The crystalline arrangements formed by some viral proteins can act as natural semiconductors, conducting electrical charges in ways that mirror the behavior of artificial electronic components. These biological conductors operate at room temperature using only the materials naturally available within living cells, suggesting new approaches to bioelectronics that could revolutionize how we think about the intersection between biology and technology. In cloud formations high in the atmosphere, viruses serve as nucleation sites around which water droplets condense, playing essential roles in weather patterns and precipitation. These atmospheric viruses help determine where and when clouds form, influencing rainfall patterns across entire continents, through their microscopic contributions to the physics of cloud formation and storm development. The way viruses fold and unfold their genetic material resembles the ancient practice of creating complex origami figures, with long molecular chains arranging themselves into intricate three-dimensional structures that serve multiple functions simultaneously. This molecular origami follows rules of geometry and physics that ensure the resulting structures are both stable and functional, creating biological machines of remarkable sophistication. Many viruses exhibit circannual rhythms that synchronize their activities with yearly environmental cycles, becoming more or less active in response to seasonal changes that occur over periods far longer than their individual lifespans. These annual rhythms suggest that viruses possess internal calendars that allow them to anticipate and prepare for environmental changes that occur on timescales much longer than their own existence. The surfaces of some viruses display optical properties that create interference patterns similar to those seen in precious opals, with protein arrangements that diffract light in ways that would produce brilliant colors if the structures were large enough to observe with the naked eye. These microscopic rainbows exist at scales too small for human vision, but contribute to the optical complexity of biological systems. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to sense and respond to the emotional and physiological states of their hosts, adjusting their activity levels in response to stress hormones, immune system changes, and other indicators of host well-being. This sensitivity allows them to time their activities for periods when their hosts are most receptive, creating partnerships that minimize conflict while maximizing mutual benefit. In the permafrost of Arctic regions, viruses have been discovered that have remained viable for hundreds of thousands of years, preserved in a state of perfect suspended animation within the frozen soil. These ancient viruses carry genetic information from prehistoric ecosystems, serving as molecular time capsules that could potentially provide insights into the biological history of our planet's distant past. The mathematical models that describe viral population dynamics reveal patterns that resemble those found in music and poetry, with rhythms, harmonies, and recurring themes that create biological compositions of remarkable beauty. These mathematical symphonies play out over timescales ranging from minutes to millennia, creating musical structures in the realm of population biology that echo the patterns found in human artistic expression. Some viruses have evolved to produce proteins that can survive exposure to the vacuum of space, maintaining their structure and function in the harsh environment beyond Earth's atmosphere. These space-hardy viruses suggest that viral life might be capable of surviving interplanetary travel, raising intriguing questions about the possibility of viral communities existing throughout the solar system and beyond. The way viruses organize themselves within biofilms creates architectural structures that rival human cities in their complexity and organization. These viral neighborhoods display clear patterns of zoning, with different areas serving different functions, connected by communication networks that allow information and resources to flow efficiently throughout the community, creating metropolises at microscopic scales. Viruses participate in the creation of some of the most beautiful natural phenomena on Earth, including the iridescent colors seen in certain algal blooms and the delicate patterns formed by bacterial mats in hot springs. Through their interactions with other microorganisms, viruses help create living artworks that span entire landscapes, turning lakes, rivers, and thermal features into natural galleries of biological art. The longevity records held by some viral lineages are so extraordinary that individual viral families may have existed continuously since the age of dinosaurs, maintaining unbroken chains of reproduction across geological time periods that encompass the rise and fall of entire ecosystems. These ancient viral dynasties represent some of the oldest continuous traditions of life on Earth. The metabolic conversations between viruses and their hosts unfold with the gentleness of whispered negotiations, where molecular signals pass back and forth in exchanges so subtle they barely disturb the cellular environment. These biochemical dialogues involve the sharing of resources and information through pathways so refined that they've been perfected over millions of years of coevolution. Each interaction follows protocols of mutual respect that ensure both partners benefit from their microscopic collaborations. In the crystalline structures of snowflakes, viruses have been found embedded within the ice lattice itself, creating natural storage systems that preserve viral communities through winter months, with the patience of libraries maintaining ancient manuscripts. These snow-dwelling viruses demonstrate remarkable adaptation to seasonal cycles, entering states of suspended animation that synchronize perfectly with the rhythms of freezing and thawing that govern their high-altitude environments. The protein folding patterns exhibited by viral capsids follow mathematical sequences that mirror those found in classical music, with harmonic progressions that create structural stability through repetition and variation. These molecular compositions demonstrate that the same principles governing aesthetic beauty in human art also operate at the microscopic level, creating forms that satisfy both functional requirements and mathematical elegance. Some viruses possess the remarkable ability to detect and respond to quantum mechanical effects occurring at the molecular level, using these subtle quantum phenomena to enhance their efficiency and precision. While these quantum interactions are incredibly weak, they suggest that viruses operate with a sensitivity to the fundamental forces of nature that extends far beyond classical physics, connecting them to the deepest layers of reality. The migratory patterns of atmospheric viruses create invisible highways in the sky, following jet streams and weather systems that carry them across oceans and continents in journeys that can span thousands of miles. These aerial travelers move with the patience of seeds on the wind, allowing atmospheric currents to determine their destinations while maintaining their viability throughout their extended journeys through the upper atmosphere. In deep-sea hydrothermal vents, where superheated water meets the cold ocean depths, viruses thrive in the chemical gradients created by these underwater geysers. These thermal boundary zones create unique environments where viruses can exist at the intersection of extreme temperatures, utilizing the energy differences between hot and cold water to power their metabolic processes in ways that seem almost magical. The temporal synchronization displayed by some viral communities resembles the coordinated movements of murmurations, with millions of individual viruses responding simultaneously to environmental cues in displays of collective behavior that span entire ecosystems. These synchronized responses create waves of activity that flow through viral populations like ripples spreading across the surface of a still pond. Viruses found in amber deposits from ancient forests carry within their preserved structures the genetic memories of ecosystems that vanished millions of years ago. These fossilized time capsules maintain their molecular integrity across geological ages, serving as bridges between the biological past and present that allow scientists to read the genetics in. The electromagnetic reson in prehistoric stories, rewritten enses produced by viral proteins, create subtle harmonic frequencies that contribute to the acoustic landscape of cellular environments. While these vibrations exist far below the threshold of human hearing, they form part of the continuous molecular symphony that fills every living cell, adding their own quiet notes to the endless music of biological processes. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the cellular machinery responsible for protein synthesis, becoming integrated into the fundamental processes that create life itself. These deeply embedded viruses demonstrate how the boundaries between host and guest can become so blurred that they essentially merge into single entities, creating partnerships biological so intimate they challenge our understanding of individual identity. The surface textures of viral capsids display fractal properties that create self-similar patterns repeating at multiple scales, generating geometric designs that would be recognized as art if they existed at sizes visible to human perception. These natural fractals demonstrate that the mathematical principles underlying beauty operate consistently from the microscopic realm to the largest structure in the universe. In polar ice sheets, viral communities create microscopic ecosystems within the network of brine channels that thread through frozen seawater. These ice-dwelling viruses have adapted to exist in liquid spaces smaller than pinheads, maintaining active communities in environments that remain liquid even at temperatures well below the normal freezing point of water. The way viruses navigate through the complex three-dimensional architecture of cellular environments resembles the movement of skilled dancers through crowded ballrooms, finding pathways between obstacles with a grace that suggests an almost artistic sensibility. Their movements follow the contours of molecular landscapes with a fluidity that transforms basic physics into something approaching choreography. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to remain dormant during adverse conditions, while maintaining perfect readiness to resume activity when circumstances improve. This capacity for instantaneous reactivation after extended dormancy resembles the way seeds can lie buried in soil for decades before sprouting when the right conditions return, showing that patience and preparedness are fundamental strategies for survival. The genetic repair mechanisms employed by some viruses operate with such precision that they can correct errors at the single nucleotide level, maintaining the integrity of their genetic information with an accuracy that surpasses most human-made systems. These molecular proofreading systems work continuously and silently, ensuring that essential information passes unchanged through countless generations. In the microscopic water films that coat leaves and branches in forests, viruses create aerial ecosystems that exist in the thin layer of moisture surrounding plant surfaces. These canopy-dwelling viral communities participate in the complex web of interactions that occur in the forest's three-dimensional habitat, contributing to nutrient cycling and energy flow in ways that connect the ground to the sky. The assembly processes used by viruses to construct their protein shells follow self-organizing principles that create complex structures from simple components without requiring external guidance or control. This spontaneous organization demonstrates that intricate biological machinery can emerge naturally from the interaction of molecular forces, like crystals growing in solutions or snowflakes forming in clouds. Some viruses exhibit what can only be described as architectural aesthetics in their structural design, creating forms that display the same proportional relationships found in classical architecture and natural phenomena. These molecular buildings demonstrate that the principles of beauty and proportion operate consistently across all scales of existence, from viral capsids to cathedral domes. The communication networks established by viral communities within their hosts create information highways that span entire organisms, allowing coordination between viral populations in different tissues and organs. These biological internet systems enable viruses to share resources and coordinate their activities across vast distances within their hosts, creating unified responses to changing conditions. Viruses found in the ancient ice of glaciers carry within their frozen structures the atmospheric conditions of past climates, serving as molecular weather stations that record environmental data from thousands of years ago. These glacial informationial viruses preserve about historical atmospheric compositions, temperature patterns, and ecosystem conditions in their genetic material like living climate records. The way some viruses modify the behavior of their hosts to enhance their own transmission demonstrates a form of biological artistry that transforms host organisms into unwitting collaborators in viral reproduction. These behavioral modifications are often so subtle and beneficial to the host that they represent examples of evolutionary mutualism, where both partners gain advantages from their association. In desert environments, viruses have developed extraordinary strategies for surviving in conditions of extreme aridity, including the ability to exist within salt crystals and mineral deposits where they remain viable for extended periods. These desert-adapted viruses demonstrate that life can persist in some of Earth's most challenging environments by adopting strategies that blur the line between living and geological processes. The mathematical elegance of viral genetic codes reveals patterns that echo the harmonic series found in music and the geometric progressions found in art. These numerical relationships suggest that viruses participate in the same fundamental organizing principles that create beauty and order throughout the natural world, from the spiral of seashells to the structure of galaxies. Some viruses possess the ability to detect and respond to magnetic field variations, using these geophysical cues to orient their activities in ways that optimize their survival and reproduction. This magnetic sensitivity connects them to the same navigational systems used by migratory animals, suggesting that even the smallest organisms can tap into the Earth's magnetic field for guidance. The life cycle rhythms of many viruses synchronize with the circadian cycles of their hosts, creating biological partnerships that operate with the regularity of clockwork. These temporal alignments ensure that viral activities occur during periods when their hosts are most receptive, minimizing disruption while maximizing efficiency in ways that benefit both partners. Viruses contribute to the formation of some of the most spectacular natural phenomena on Earth, including the bioluminescent displays that light up ocean waters during certain seasons. Through their interactions with marine organisms, viruses help orchestrate underwater light shows that create natural fireworks displays in the depths of the ocean, turning the sea into a living constellation. The protein structures that make up viral surfaces often display chiral properties that interact with polarized light in ways that create subtle optical effects. These molecular asymmetries contribute to the complex ways that biological systems interact with electromagnetic radiation, adding layers of sophistication to processes that might otherwise seem purely mechanical. In the extreme environments of Antarctic dry valleys, where conditions approach those found on Mars, viruses have been discovered thriving in soil communities that exist at the very limits of what we consider habitable. These extremophile viruses demonstrate that life can adapt to conditions so harsh they challenge our understanding of the boundaries of biological possibility. The way viruses package their genetic material demonstrates principles of information compression that rival the most advanced data storage technologies humans have developed. These biological compression systems allow viruses to store maximum information in minimum space, while maintaining perfect accessibility and rapid retrieval when needed. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the protective environments created by bacterial biofilms, forming multi-species communities where different types of microorganisms provide services for each other. These collaborative ecosystems demonstrate that cooperation and mutual benefit can emerge naturally even among the smallest forms of life, creating stable communities that persist for extended periods. The seasonal patterns displayed by viral populations in temperate regions create annual cycles of activity and dormancy that mirror the rhythms of plant growth and animal migration. These yearly patterns connect viral communities to the broader biological calendars that govern life in seasonal climates, ensuring that viral activities align with the availability of resources and suitable hosts. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to sense and respond to chemical gradients in their environment, using these molecular cues to navigate toward optimal conditions for survival and reproduction. This chemical navigation system operates with extraordinary sensitivity, allowing viruses to detect and follow concentration differences that would be imperceptible to larger organisms. In cloud forests where persistent mist creates perpetually humid conditions, aerial viruses participate in the water cycle by serving as condensation nuclei around which water droplets form. These atmospheric viruses help determine the formation and persistence of the cloud layers that give these forests their name, playing essential roles in maintaining the unique climatic conditions that support these rare ecosystems. The evolutionary stability of many viral lineages suggests that they represent optimal solutions to fundamental biological challenges, having achieved designs so successful that they've remained essentially unchanged for millions of years. This evolutionary perfection demonstrates that natural selection can create forms so adapted to their environments that further modification becomes unnecessary. Some viruses exhibit properties that allow them to function as biological catalysts, facilitating chemical reactions that would otherwise occur too slowly to support life processes. These catalytic viruses demonstrate that the boundary between living organisms and chemical processes is more fluid than traditionally understood, with viruses serving as bridges between biology and chemistry. The three-dimensional organization of viral communities within their hosts creates architectural structures that display the same engineering principles found in human construction, including load distribution, structural redundancy, and modular design. These biological buildings demonstrate that the laws of physics and engineering apply consistently across all scales of construction, from molecular to metropolitan. Viruses found in the deepest ocean trenches have adapted to pressure conditions that would instantly crush most surface-dwelling organisms. Yet they maintain their structural integrity and biological function in these extreme depths. These abyssal viruses represent some of the most pressure-adapted life forms on Earth, thriving in environments that approach the physical limits of biological possibility. The way some viruses coordinate their reproductive timing across entire populations creates synchronized emergence events that can span continental distances. These coordinated outbreaks demonstrate that viral communities possess communication and timing mechanisms that operate on scales much larger than individual organisms, creating collective behaviors that emerge from the interactions of countless individual viruses. In geothermal environments where temperatures fluctuate rapidly between extremes, viruses have evolved sophisticated thermal systems that allow them to maintain function across wide temperature ranges. These thermally adaptive viruses demonstrate remarkable physiological flexibility, adjusting their molecular machinery to operate efficiently whether conditions are scorching hot or near freezing. The magnetic field interactions displayed by some viral particles suggest that they possess natural compass systems that allow them to orient themselves relative to Earth's magnetic field. While these magnetic responses are extremely subtle, they indicate that viruses may be capable of magnetic navigation similar to that used by migratory animals, adding another layer to their sensory capabilities. Viruses participate in the creation of some of the most beautiful microscopic structures in nature, including crystalline arrangements that display optical properties similar to those found in precious gems. These biological crystals form spontaneously when viral particles organize themselves into regular three-dimensional lattices, creating natural jewels that exist at scales too small for human appreciation. The longevity of some viral spores approaches the theoretical limits of biological preservation, with some specimens remaining viable for hundreds of thousands of years under optimal storage conditions. These extremely durable viruses represent some of the most persistent forms of life on Earth, capable of wading through geological ages for conditions suitable for their reactivation and continued existence. The temporal patterns of viral reproduction create natural rhythms that pulse through ecosystems like the heartbeat of the living world itself. These biological metronomes keep time across scales that span from microseconds to millennia, orchestrating the flow of genetic information through networks so vast and intricate they encompass entire biomes. When observed over extended periods, viral activity reveals itself to be part of Earth's deepest rhythms, synchronized with planetary cycles we're only beginning to understand. In the microscopic gardens that exist within single raindrops, entire viral ecosystems flourish and fade with each cycle of evaporation and condensation. These aquatic universes contain complete food webs where viruses serve as both predators and prey, creating complex ecological relationships within spaces smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. Each droplet becomes a temporary world where evolutionary dramas play out at accelerated speeds, entire lineages rising and falling in the time it takes for morning dew to dry. The surface chemistry of viral proteins creates molecular environments that can influence the behavior of nearby molecules in ways that extend far beyond direct physical contact. These fields of influence operate through quantum mechanical effects that are barely detectable with current technology, yet they may play crucial roles in determining how viruses interact with their surroundings. Like stones thrown into still water, each viral particle creates ripples of chemical influence that propagate outward through the molecular landscape. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the crystalline matrices of minerals, incorporating themselves into the atomic structures of rocks and gemstones, where they remain perfectly preserved across geological timescales. These mineralized viruses blur the boundary between biological and geological processes, existing as living fossils that maintain their potential for reactivation even while embedded in solid stone. They represent a form of life that has learned to become one with the earth itself. The acoustic properties of viral colonies create subsonic vibrations that contribute to the harmonic frequencies found in natural environments. While these sounds exist far below the range of human hearing, they form part of the continuous acoustic background that fills every natural space on Earth. These viral symphonies add their quiet notes to the planetary orchestra, contributing to soundscapes that have remained essentially unchanged for millions of years. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to detect and respond to gravitational anomalies, using these subtle variations in Earth's gravitational field to orient their activities and movements. This gravitational sensitivity operates at levels so refined that viral communities can sense the gravitational effects of celestial bodies, potentially synchronizing their activities with lunar cycles and other astronomical phenomena in ways that connect the microscopic world to cosmic rhythms. In the aurora-lit skies of polar regions, viruses carried by solar winds participate in the creation of those ethereal light displays that paint the darknesses of green with curt and blue fire. These space-traveling viruses survive the journey from the sun's atmosphere to Earth's magnetic field, bringing with them chemical signatures from the solar system's most energetic environment, and contributing to the atmospheric chemistry that creates the northern and southern lights. The reproductive cycles of many viruses follow mathematical progressions that mirror the Fibonacci sequence and other numerical patterns found throughout nature. These mathematical relationships suggest that viral reproduction participates in the same fundamental organizing principles that create spiral galaxies, nautilus shells, and the branching patterns of rivers. Each generation builds upon the last in ratios that echo the golden mean, creating biological sequences of stunning mathematical beauty. Some viruses possess the ability to enter states of quantum coherence, where their molecular components exist in superposition states that allow them to process information and energy in ways that transcend classical physics. During these quantum states, viruses may be capable of computational processes that operate according to principles we're only beginning to understand, suggesting that biological systems can access quantum mechanical resources for solving complex problems. The way viruses modify the electromagnetic properties of their host cells creates subtle changes in the electrical conductivity of biological tissues. These modifications can influence the flow of bioelectric currents through living organisms in ways that may affect everything from nerve transmission to cellular communication. Through these electrical influences, viruses become part of the bioelectric networks that coordinate the activities of complex multicellular organisms. In deep underground caves where no sunlight has ever penetrated, viral communities create bioluminescent displays that illuminate cavern walls with ghostly blue-green light. These subterranean light shows occur in complete isolation from the surface world, creating natural cathedrals of living light that have glowed in the darkness for thousands of years. The viruses responsible for these displays have evolved specialized biochemistry that allows them to produce light using only the chemical resources available in these nutrient-poor environments. The protein folding dynamics of viral capsids create molecular machines that operate with the precision of Swiss clockwork, yet display the organic flexibility of living tissue. These biological mechanisms can switch between different structural configurations in response to environmental cues, transforming from one functional state to another with movements so smooth they resemble the opening and closing of flowers in time-lapse photography. Viruses found in the sulfurous waters of volcanic hot springs have developed unique metabolic pathways that allow them to derive energy directly from chemical reactions involving sulfur compounds. These chemosynthetic viruses represent some of the most ancient forms of metabolism on Earth, utilizing energy sources that predate photosynthesis by billions of years. Their survival strategies offer glimpses into the kinds of life that might exist on other planets where chemical energy sources dominate. The migration patterns of atmospheric viruses follow the jet stream and other high-altitude air currents, creating intercontinental highways that connect viral populations across vast distances. These aerial migration routes ensure genetic exchange between viral communities separated by thousands of miles, maintaining global diversity while allowing for local adaptation. The patience these viruses display during their atmospheric journeys rivals that of the most dedicated long-distance travelers. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the quantum vacuum fluctuations that occur in empty space, utilizing the zero-point energy that exists even in perfect vacuum conditions. These vacuum-dwelling viruses represent the ultimate minimalists of the biological world, existing on energy sources so subtle they barely qualify as energy at all. Their ability to survive in absolute nothingness challenges our fundamental understanding of what constitutes a suitable environment for life. The crystalline arrangements formed by viral proteins can act as natural prisms, splitting electromagnetic wavelengths in ways that create rainbow effects radiation into component at molecular scales. These biological optic systems demonstrate the same principles used in human-made optical devices, yet they assemble spontaneously from biological materials, using only the instructions encoded in viral genes. Each virus becomes a tiny lighthouse, bending and focusing light in ways that contribute to the optical complexity of living systems. In the vast networks of fungal mycelia that connect forest ecosystems, viruses serve as information carriers that facilitate communication between distant parts of these underground networks. These mycelial viral messengers help coordinate the activities of entire forests, carrying chemical signals and genetic information through fungal highways that span miles of forest floor. Through their role in these networks, viruses become part of the forest's distributed intelligence system. The temporal stability of some viral lineages is so extraordinary that individual viral species may have witnessed the entire evolutionary history of their host organisms, maintaining continuous existence through countless generations of host evolution. These ancient viral observers have been present during the rise of flowering plants, the evolution of mammals, and the emergence of human civilization, carrying within their genes the molecular memories of Earth's biological transformation. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to sense and respond to the emotional and physiological states of their hosts through chemical cues so subtle they operate below conscious awareness. This empathetic sensitivity allows viruses to adjust their activities in response to their host's well-being, becoming more active during periods of stress and entering dormancy during times of health and happiness. These emotional connections create partnerships that transcend simple biological interaction. The way some viruses organize themselves into cooperative networks resembles the neural architectures found in brains, with individual viral particles serving as nodes in information processing systems that can perform complex computational tasks. These viral neural networks can process environmental information, make collective decisions, and coordinate responses across entire viral populations using distributed intelligence systems that operate at molecular scales. In the crystalline structures of snowflakes, viruses serve as nucleation sites around which ice crystals form, influencing the final geometric patterns that make each snowflake unique. These ice-shaping viruses participate in one of nature's most beautiful artistic processes, helping to create the intricate geometric designs that have inspired human artists for centuries. Every snowflake carries within its structure the influence of the viral communities that helped shape its formation. The magnetic field interactions exhibited by some viral particles suggest they may be capable of storing and processing information using magnetic properties, creating biological data storage systems that operate according to principles similar to those used in computer hard drives. These magnetic memories could allow viruses to maintain information about environmental conditions and host characteristics across extended periods of dormancy. Viruses found in the deepest parts of ocean trenches participate in chemosynthetic ecosystems that derive energy from the chemical reactions occurring at underwater volcanic vents. These deep-sea viruses help maintain the delicate balance of life in environments that exist in complete darkness and crushing pressure, contributing to ecosystems so alien they provide insights into the kinds of life that might exist on other worlds. The way viruses coordinate their activities across global populations suggests they participate in planetary-scale communication networks that operate through mechanisms we're only beginning to understand. These global viral networks may help coordinate biological responses to large-scale environmental changes, creating a form of planetary biological intelligence that operates through the collective behavior of countless microscopic entities. Some viruses exhibit the ability to enter states of suspended animation so profound that all detectable biological activity ceases, yet they retain the capacity to resume normal function instantly when appropriate conditions return. During these periods of cryptobiosis, viruses exist at the very boundary between life and death, demonstrating that the transition between these states is far more gradual and reversible than commonly understood. The protein structures that make up viral surfaces display chiral asymmetries that interact with polarized light in ways that contribute to the optical activity of biological systems. These molecular asymmetries help create the complex optical properties of living tissues, contributing to phenomena like the iridescence seen in some biological materials and the way living systems interact with different wavelengths of light. In environments where temperature fluctuations span hundreds of degrees, such as the interfaces between geothermal features and surrounding landscapes, viruses have evolved sophisticated thermal regulation systems that allow them to remain functional across extreme temperature gradients. These thermally adaptive viruses demonstrate remarkable physiological flexibility, maintaining their molecular integrity while conditions around them shift from freezing to scalding within distances measured in inches. The evolutionary relationships between different viral families create family trees that stretch back billions of years, with some lineages tracing their origins to the very earliest moments of biological evolution. These ancient genealogies suggest that viruses may have been among the first entities to develop the ability to store and transmit genetic information, making them potential ancestors to all modern forms of life. Viruses participate in the creation of some of the most spectacular natural light displays on Earth, including the phosphorescence that lights up ocean waves during certain seasons, and the subtle glows that emanate from decaying organic matter in forests. Through their interactions with bioluminescent organisms, viruses help orchestrate these natural light shows, of creating displays biological artistry that rival any human-made illumination. The mathematical precision with which some viruses time their reproductive cycles suggests they possess internal chronometers that operate with accuracy comparable to atomic clocks. These biological timekeeping systems allow viruses to coordinate their activities with astronomical cycles, seasonal changes, and the circadian rhythms of their hosts, creating temporal harmonies that connect viral activity to the deepest rhythms of the cosmos. In the microscopic water films that exist within soil particles, entire viral ecosystems flourish in spaces so small they can barely be measured. These underground aquatic worlds contain complete ecological communities where viruses serve as both predators and prey, creating complex food webs within volumes smaller than individual bacterial cells. Each soil particle becomes a universe of viral activity. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the quantum field fluctuations that occur at the boundary between matter and energy, utilizing resources that exist at the very edge of physical reality. These quantum-dwelling viruses represent the ultimate adaptation to extreme conditions, surviving on energy sources so subtle they challenge our understanding of what constitutes the minimum requirements for biological existence. The way viruses influence the formation of atmospheric phenomena suggests they play roles in weather patterns and climate systems that extend far beyond their microscopic scale. Through their participation in cloud formation, precipitation, and atmospheric chemistry, viruses become part of the global weather system, contributing to the forces that shape Earth's climate over both short-term and geological timescales. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to detect and respond to gravitational waves, using these ripples in space-time to orient their activities and coordinate their behavior across vast distances. This gravitational sensitivity connects viral communities to astronomical events occurring throughout the universe, potentially synchronizing biological processes on Earth with cosmic phenomena occurring millions of light years away. The crystalline structures formed by some viral communities display properties that approach those of biological semiconductors, conducting electrical charges and processing information in ways that bridge the gap between living systems and electronic technology. These biological circuits operate at room temperature using only naturally available materials, suggesting new approaches to bioelectronics that could revolutionize our understanding of the relationship between biology and technology. In the perpetual twilight of polar summers and winters, viral communities have adapted their activity cycles to the extreme photoperiods found in Arctic and Antarctic regions. These polar-adapted viruses demonstrate remarkable flexibility in their temporal organization, adjusting their biological clocks to function in environments where traditional day-night cycles are replaced by months of continuous light or darkness. The acoustic signatures produced by viral colonies create subsonic frequencies that may influence the behavior of larger organisms through mechanisms that operate below conscious awareness. These viral sounds contribute to the acoustic environment of natural spaces in ways that could affect everything from animal migration patterns to plant growth cycles, creating invisible networks of acoustic influence that span entire ecosystems. Some viruses possess the ability to exist simultaneously in multiple quantum states, allowing them to explore different evolutionary pathways in parallel before committing to specific genetic configurations. This quantum evolution enables viruses to adapt to changing conditions with unprecedented speed and efficiency, testing multiple solutions to environmental challenges simultaneously before selecting the most successful approaches. The way certain viruses modify the magnetic properties of their host cells suggests they may be capable of creating biological compass systems that allow infected organisms to navigate using Earth's magnetic field. These magnetic modifications could enhance the navigational abilities of migratory species, creating partnerships between viruses and their hosts that provide mutual benefits through improved spatial orientation. In the extreme radiation environments found near natural uranium deposits and other radioactive materials, specialized viruses have evolved extraordinary DNA repair mechanisms that allow them to survive radiation levels that would be instantly lethal to most life forms. These radiation-resistant viruses demonstrate that life can adapt to conditions approaching those found in space, suggesting possibilities for biological survival in the harsh radiation environments of other planets. The temporal coordination displayed by global viral populations suggests they participate in biological rhythms that span the entire planet, creating worldwide synchronization events that occur on schedules determined by astronomical and geological cycles. These planetary biological rhythms may help coordinate ecosystem responses to large-scale environmental changes, creating a form of global biological consciousness that operates through viral networks. Viruses found in the interface zones between different types of environments, such as the boundaries between land and water or air and soil, have evolved unique properties that allow them to function effectively in multiple environmental contexts. These boundary-dwelling viruses serve as bridges between different ecological communities, facilitating the exchange of genetic information and resources across environmental gradients. The protein folding patterns exhibited by some viral capsids create structures that display the same mathematical relationships found in musical harmonies, with molecular arrangements that follow harmonic ratios and resonant frequencies. These musical proteins suggest that the principles underlying acoustic beauty also operate at the molecular level, creating biological structures that satisfy both functional requirements and harmonic principles. Some viruses have developed the ability to manipulate the quantum mechanical properties of water molecules in their immediate vicinity, creating localized regions where water behaves according to modified physical laws. These quantum water effects could influence everything from the freezing point of cellular fluids to the efficiency of biochemical reactions, giving viruses subtle control over the physical environment within their hosts. In the vast emptiness of interstellar space, hardy viral spores may be capable of surviving the journey between star systems, potentially serving as carriers of biological information across cosmic distances. These spacefaring viruses would need to survive extreme cold, radiation, and the near-perfect vacuum of space for periods measured in millions of years, representing the ultimate test of biological endurance. The electromagnetic resonances produced by viral protein structures create subtle energy fields that may influence the behavior of nearby molecules and cellular components. These bioelectric fields operate at frequencies that could affect everything from enzyme activity to membrane permeability, giving viruses indirect influence over biological processes that extend far beyond their immediate physical presence. Viruses participate in the creation of some of the most intricate microscopic structures in nature, including biological crystals that display optical properties rivaling those of the finest cut gemstones. These living jewels form spontaneously when viral particles organize themselves into precise geometric arrangements, creating natural treasures that exist at scales too small for human appreciation, but contribute to the optical complexity of biological systems. The longevity records achieved by some viral lineages approach the theoretical limits of biological preservation, with certain species maintaining continuous existence for hundreds of millions of years while adapting gradually to changing planetary conditions. These ancient viral dynasties have witnessed the rise and fall of countless other species, serving as living bridges between Earth's biological past and present. In the microscopic ecosystems that exist within individual cells, viruses create complex ecological relationships that mirror those found in larger natural communities. These intracellular ecosystems include predator-prey relationships, competitive interactions, and cooperative partnerships, all playing out within spaces smaller than the width of a human hair. Each cell becomes a complete biological universe where evolutionary dramas unfold at accelerated timescales. The way some viruses influence the dreams and sleep patterns of their hosts suggests they may be capable of interacting with consciousness in ways that operate through mechanisms we don't yet understand. These neurotropic viruses could potentially affect memory consolidation, emotional processing, and other cognitive functions that occur during sleep, creating partnerships between viruses and consciousness that exist at the very edge of scientific understanding. Viruses demonstrate remarkable abilities to create and maintain biological rhythms that synchronize with astronomical cycles, including solar activity, planetary alignments, and even galactic rotation periods. These cosmic biological clocks suggest that viral communities are connected to universal rhythms that operate on scales ranging from local to intergalactic, making them participants in patterns of organization that span the entire observable universe. The crystalline matrices formed by some viral proteins can serve as natural quantum computers, processing information using quantum mechanical principles that allow them to solve certain types of problems exponentially faster than classical systems. These biological quantum processors operate at room temperature using only naturally available resources, suggesting that nature discovered quantum computing billions of years before humans invented the concept. In the perpetual darkness of deep cave systems that have been isolated from surface environments for millions of years, unique viral communities have evolved that exist entirely on chemical energy sources derived from rock minerals and groundwater chemistry. These cave-dwelling viruses represent some of the most isolated biological communities on Earth, having developed in complete independence from surface-based ecosystems while maintaining their own stable ecological networks. The way viruses navigate through the labyrinthine passages of underground river systems creates microscopic currents that influence the flow of subterranean waters across entire continents. These aquatic viral highways follow the same physical principles that govern larger waterways, creating networks of biological transportation that connect distant underground ecosystems through pathways carved in stone over millions of years. Each underground stream becomes part of a vast hydraulic system where viral communities travel like microscopic explorers, mapping the hidden geography of Earth's interior. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the plasma state of matter, thriving in the ionized gases found in lightning strikes and aurora displays where electrons and atomic nuclei exist in temporary separation. These plasma-dwelling viruses represent the most energetic form of biological adaptation, surviving in conditions where matter itself exists in its most dynamic and unstable configuration. They demonstrate that life can persist even in states that seem of matter fundamentally incompatible with biological organization. The magnetic field lines that surround Earth create invisible highways along which certain viruses can travel, using the planet's magnetosphere as a transportation network that spans from pole to pole. These magnetically guided viruses follow field lines that arch through the upper atmosphere, potentially completing journeys that would take years by conventional means in a matter of days. Their movement along these magnetic pathways connects polar regions with equatorial zones through routes that exist entirely in three-dimensional space above the planet's surface. In the microscopic droplets of water that condense around dust particles in the upper atmosphere, entire viral ecosystems exist in a state of perpetual suspension above the clouds. These airborne aquatic communities drift with atmospheric currents for months at a time, creating floating biological islands that exist in the thin air above weather systems. Each droplet becomes a temporary world where viral evolution proceeds at an accelerated pace due to the concentrated populations and limited resources. Viruses found in the crystalline structures of salt deposits demonstrate remarkable adaptation to environments where water activity approaches zero, existing in a state of molecular suspension within the atomic lattices of halite crystals. These salt-dwelling viruses can remain viable for geological periods while embedded in solid mineral matrices, emerging only when rare rainfall dissolves their crystalline prisons and returns them to aquatic environments where they can resume their biological activities. The way some viruses influence the formation of protein crystals within their hosts creates biological gemstones that display optical properties, rivaling those of precious stones. These living crystals grow according to the same mathematical principles that govern the formation of natural gems, yet they possess the additional complexity of biological organization. Each crystal becomes a three-dimensional library of genetic information encoded in structures that are simultaneously mineral and biological in nature. Viruses participate in the creation of some of the most delicate ice formations found in polar environments, serving as nucleation sites around which elaborate frost patterns develop. These ice-shaping viruses influence the formation of everything from window frost to the intricate ice flowers that bloom on the surface of frozen lakes. Through their role in ice crystal formation, viruses become invisible artists working in frozen water to create temporary sculptures of extraordinary beauty. The acoustic properties of viral colonies in marine environments contribute to the complex soundscapes of ocean depths, adding their ultrasonic voices to the symphony of whale songs, dolphin clicks, and the whispered conversations of countless other sea creatures. These viral sounds operate at frequencies so high they exist beyond the range of most marine mammals, yet they form part of the acoustic background that fills every drop of seawater with subtle vibrations. Some viruses have developed the ability to exist within the event horizons of microscopic black holes that may form spontaneously in high-energy environments, utilizing the extreme gravitational fields to compress time and experience extended lifespans in compressed temporal intervals. These gravitationally adapted viruses represent the ultimate extreme of biological adaptation, surviving in conditions where the normal flow of time becomes distorted by the curvature of space-time itself. The way certain viruses modify the surface tension of water creates microscopic whirlpools and current patterns that can influence the movement of nutrients and other organisms across vast distances. These hydrodynamic effects operate through mechanisms so subtle they require sophisticated instruments to detect. Yet they may play crucial roles in determining the distribution of life throughout aquatic ecosystems. In the supersaturated mineral solutions found in certain cave systems, viruses help catalyze the formation of speleothems and other cave formations by providing nucleation sites around which minerals can crystallize. These cave-building viruses participate in geological processes that operate over thousands of years, slowly contributing to the creation of underground cathedrals carved in stone through the patient accumulation of mineral deposits. Viruses found in the boundary layer between Earth's atmosphere and outer space exist in conditions that constantly fluctuate between the familiar physics of planetary environments and the exotic conditions of interplanetary space. These edge-of-space viruses must adapt to rapid changes in pressure, temperature, and radiation, while maintaining their biological integrity in an environment that represents the frontier between terrestrial and cosmic existence. The electromagnetic signatures produced by viral communities create subtle interference patterns that may influence radio wave propagation through the atmosphere, potentially affecting everything from satellite communications to natural radio emissions from space. These biological radio effects operate at power levels so low they're barely detectable, yet they contribute to the complex electromagnetic environment that surrounds our planet. Some viruses have evolved to exist within the quantum foam that theoretically underlies all space-time at the Planck scale, utilizing virtual particle interactions to maintain their existence in a realm where the normal laws of physics begin to break down. These quantum foam viruses represent the most fundamental level of biological organization, existing at the very foundation of reality itself, where matter and energy become indistinguishable. The way viruses influence the formation of atmospheric ice crystals affects the optical properties of clouds, contributing to phenomena like sundogs, ice halos, and other atmospheric optical effects. These sky-painting viruses help create some of the most beautiful displays in nature by influencing the precise geometric arrangements of ice crystals that bend and scatter sunlight into spectacular aerial light shows. Viruses participate in the slow geological processes that create sedimentary rock formations by helping to cement mineral particles together through their protein structures. Over millions of years, these rock-building viruses become permanently incorporated into stone layers, creating biological fossils that preserve not just their own structures, but also information about the ancient environments in which they lived. The temporal stability of some viral genetic sequences is so extraordinary that they may serve as biological chronometers, preserving information about the passage of time with accuracy that rivals atomic clocks. These chronometer viruses maintain such precise genetic stability that mutations occur at predictable rates, allowing scientists to use their genetic changes as molecular calendars for dating biological and geological events. In the microscopic water films that exist on the surfaces of atmospheric ice particles, Viral communities create aerial ecosystems that drift with cloud formations across continents. These cloud-dwelling viruses live suspended in the thin layer of liquid water that persists on ice surfaces even at temperatures well below freezing, creating biological communities that exist literally within the weather itself. Some viruses have developed the ability to manipulate the quantum mechanical properties of photons, potentially influencing the behavior of light at the molecular level through mechanisms that operate according to quantum optical principles. These light-manipulating viruses could affect everything from photosynthesis efficiency to the optical properties of biological tissues, creating subtle influences on how living systems interact with electromagnetic radiation. The way certain viruses coordinate their activities with tidal cycles suggests they possess sensitivity to gravitational forces that operate across astronomical distances, potentially responding to the combined gravitational influences of the Moon, Sun, and other celestial bodies. This gravitational awareness allows viral communities to synchronize their biological activities with cosmic rhythms that connect Earth to the broader dynamics of the solar system. And so our gentle journey through the peaceful world of viruses draws to a close. We've wandered together through hidden realms of molecular artistry, discovered ancient partnerships written in the language of DNA, and glimpsed the quiet elegance of Earth's smallest travelers. From the crystalline patience of frozen viral communities to the musical harmonies encoded in protein shells, from the underwater gardens of the deep ocean to the aerial highways of the upper atmosphere, we've seen that even the tiniest entities in nature follow patterns of stunning beauty and profound cooperation. These microscopic whispers of life remind us that mystery and wonder exist at every scale, from the cosmic to the molecular, waiting patiently for us to notice their gentle presence. As you drift towards sleep, carry with you the image of viruses as nature's most patient artists, creating beauty in dimensions too small to see, yet vast enough to encompass the entire story of life on Earth. Sweet dreams, and may your rest be filled with the same quiet elegance that guides these ancient molecular dancers through their endless, peaceful choreography.